Yo! The Champions League is back.
Oh my god! Wow!
The 2025-26 Champions League season is finally here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my match day 1 predictions in the league phase. Just like I do every single year, I'm going to be predicting the results of every single match day, and starting off with match day 1, I'm going to be predicting the scores of every single game. Obviously, if you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below, but if you disagree, because I'm pretty sure most of you will, remember to leave your predictions down below and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. So without further ado, let's get right into these predictions. Starting off with the first match on Tuesday, we got Athletic Club against Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal are the favorites in this matchup, and I'm pretty sure most people will predict them to win. But they have been going through a little bit of an injury crisis recently, where we've seen players like Saka, Kai Havertz, William Saliba, Gabriel Jesus, and a few other players all looking unlikely to play this game. Now, Athletic Club are a decent team and they were able to keep Nico Williams in the summer transfer window. But even though Arsenal are away, I still think they will win this game. We saw Arsenal beat Athletic Club 3-0 in the club friendlies. So for that reason, I'm going to predict Arsenal to win this game 2-1. Moving on to the next game, we have PSV against Union Saint-Gilloise. It's pretty weird having Union Saint-Gilloise in this competition because usually we see them in the Conference League or the Europa League, but not really in the Champions League. But PSV, we usually do see in this competition, and they have a pretty good reputation. They usually are a pretty tough team to beat, and even though this season they may not look as good as they've looked in previous seasons, I do think with the home advantage they will be able to beat Union Saint-Gilloise 1-0. The next game we got is Benfica against Karabag. I'm going to say it from day one, and I might look like an idiot in a few weeks. I think Karabag are one of those teams where they can upset some of the biggest European teams, and away from home, for some reason, they perform even better than they do at home. In recent years, Karabag do have a very good away record in away fixtures, so for that reason, I don't think this is going to be an easy game for Benfica. I hope I don't look like an idiot, but I'm going to predict from now that Karabag are going to be the dark horses in this Champions League. And for that reason, I think they're going to be able to draw against Benfica 3-3. Moving on to the next match, we have Juventus against Borussia Dortmund. Juventus underwent a lot of changes this summer. They signed so many new players, and they also signed a new manager in Igor Tudor. And yes, they haven't been scoring that much in previous fixtures, but they have still had a very good start to the season. Now, if we look at Borussia Dortmund in recent matches, they have been scoring a decent amount of goals, but in this fixture, there are a lot of players that look like they will be out due to injury, and particularly on the defensive end. So for that reason, I think Juventus will be able to score multiple goals against Borussia Dortmund, and I think Juve will win this game 3-2. The next match we got is Real Madrid against Marseille. I think Marseille are actually a decent team this year. I think they made a lot of good signings in the summer, but in these UEFA competitions, especially in recent years, they have not been good at all, and Real Madrid are obviously the best team in history. With the home advantage, I think Real Madrid will pretty comfortably win this game 3-1. Moving on to the next game, we have Tottenham against Villarreal, and in my opinion, I think Villarreal are going to shock a lot of people in this game. Once again, I may look like an idiot if Tottenham end up winning 5-0, but so far, especially in the La Liga, Villarreal have actually been pretty good and they've been scoring a lot of goals. Am I a little bit biased because they have 2 Canadians on their team? Maybe, but I actually think that Villarreal could possibly get a result against Tottenham. For that reason, I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw. Moving on to the Wednesday fixtures, and the first game we got is Olympiacos against Paphos. Honestly, I was confused when I first saw this fixture because I thought that Paphos was a Greek team. But obviously, I now know that they are from Cyprus, and that's how they're allowed to play each other. Obviously, this is the first time that Paphos are playing in the Champions League, and Olympiacos are a team that are regulars in these UEFA competitions. In the Champions League, in the Conference League, we see them very often. They have a lot of experience, and they've actually looked pretty good so far this season. So against Paphos, I think they're going to win 3-0. Moving on to the next match, we have Slavia Prague against Bodo Glimt. I've said it so many times that Bodo Glimt are a team that can upset some of the best teams in Europe. It's so random because they're not a popular team, and I don't think they have the best players, but they just always somehow end up getting a result. I do think Slavia Prague have the edge in this game, but once again, I think Bodo Glimt are going to be able to get a result, and for that reason, I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw. The next game we got is Ajax against Inter Milan. Ajax have not got off to a good start in the Eredivisie, and so far in their first 4 matches, we've already seen them draw 2 games against Go Ahead Eagles and also against Volendam. But similarly with Inter Milan, after their first match where they destroyed Torino 5-0, a lot of people thought that they were going to have another very good season. But in their last Serie A match, they ended up losing 2-1 against Udinese, which is a team that Inter should 100% be winning against. I do think Inter are definitely the better team, but with Ajax having the home advantage, I think they will definitely make it very hard for Inter to score in this game. But I am going to say that Inter will win this game 2-1. Moving on to the next game, and this is a big game. Bayern Munich against Chelsea. I said it in multiple videos this season that I think Chelsea are going to be a very good team this season. I saw how they progressed from the start of last season to the end, where they won the Conference League, they won the Club World Cup, they beat some of the best teams in the world, including PSG, who in my opinion are the best team in the world. But Bayern Munich, I think, have done a few great transfers this summer, and I think their team is looking really solid. Obviously, they still have a few problems with their defensive lineup, and I think they could definitely use with another defensive player. But I think Bayern Munich, especially at home, are going to be very, very tough for Chelsea to beat. I'm going to predict a 2-2 draw. The next match we got is Liverpool against Atletico Madrid, and I think this is going to be a very interesting match. I find it very strange because I think Atletico Madrid had one of the best transfer windows in the summer, where they signed some very, very good players and a lot of players that they needed to fix their squad. But so far in the La Liga, they have not been good at all. We've already seen them lose a game and draw 2 games, which realistically they should have won all 3 of those games. So I think Liverpool, especially with the home advantage, will have a very easy game in this fixture. With how poorly they've been playing so far this season, I think this will be a routine win for Liverpool. I'm going to predict a 2-0 win. And finally, the last game on Wednesday is PSG against Atalanta. Atalanta went through a lot of changes this summer where they lost some key players in their lineup, but most notably, they lost their manager Gasperini, who I think is one of the best managers in the world, and he has been overperforming with Atalanta for many, many years now. They decided to bring in Ivan Juric, in my opinion, a horrible manager, a manager that does not deserve to be coaching Atalanta. And PSG, being one of the best teams in the world, I think this is going to be so easy for PSG. I think PSG are going to win this game 4-0. And finally, moving on to the Thursday fixtures, the first game we got is Club Brugge against Monaco. In the Champions League qualifiers, we saw Club Brugge absolutely smoke Rangers, where they scored 9 goals against them across both legs. But coming up against Monaco, I think it's going to be pretty tough for them. I think Monaco are a very good team. I think they made a few good signings this summer. And even though Club Brugge do have the home advantage, I think Monaco will just edge it in this game, and I think they're going to win 2-1. The next game we got is Copenhagen against Bayer Leverkusen, and Bayer Leverkusen have been absolutely trashed this season. Their squad got completely rinsed this season. All of the best teams around Europe came to Bayer Leverkusen and took all of their best players, including their manager in Xabi Alonso. Then we saw them hire Erik ten Hag, who ended up getting sacked after 2 games, and now they did hire a new manager. And already coming up against Copenhagen at home, I think this is going to be very tough for Bayer Leverkusen. I might be jumping the gun too early, but I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw, and it is a very disappointing result for Bayer Leverkusen. The next game we got is Eintracht Frankfurt against Galatasaray. I can't see them winning against Galatasaray. I just think Galatasaray made some very key signings this summer. They signed Gundogan from Man City, who I think is still a very good player. They signed players like Wilfried Singo, a very good center back. They signed players like Osimhen and Leroy Sané, who are still very, very good attackers. And I think their squad is looking like a very unexpectedly good team. So yes, I might even be doubting Frankfurt a little bit too much, but I do think Galatasaray will win this game 3-2. Moving on to the next game, we have Manchester City against Napoli. This is going to be a really tough game for Napoli, and majority of people will definitely predict Man City to win this game. But so far this season, I don't think Man City have been that good. In my Premier League predictions, I predicted Man City to drop off further from where they did last season. And so far this season, it looks like that is going to happen. We've already seen them lose against Tottenham and against Brighton, and their injury list is already stacking up. They have so many injuries. Some of their new players are injured, some of their main squad players are injured. So they have a really shallow team in this match against Napoli. And obviously Napoli do have a couple injuries as well, but this summer they signed many players that really improved their squad depth, which was an issue for them for the last few years. I might be a little bit biased, but I'm gonna predict that this game will end in a 2-2 draw. The next game we got is Newcastle against Barcelona, and I think that this is going to be a very entertaining match. I've been hearing people say that Barcelona are going to score 3, 4, 5 goals against Newcastle, but going to St. James's Park, in my opinion, is probably one of the toughest stadiums to go to in the Premier League. I think the atmosphere there is unlike majority of the other stadiums in the Premier League, and Newcastle playing at home, they're far better than when they play away. Obviously, Barcelona are a good team, but once again, defensively, they do have a few concerns, and especially with losing Inigo Martinez and not replacing him, I'm not sure how they're going to be in this Champions League with their high line that they usually play with. But I still think that Barcelona are going to win. I think their attack is just a little bit too good for Newcastle's defense. And even though Newcastle at home are going to be a very tough game, I'm going to predict a 3-2 win for Barcelona. And finally, the last game we got is Sporting against Kairat Almaty. This is the first season that the Kazakhstani team are playing in the Champions League. And for that reason, there isn't really any expectations for them in this competition. Sporting are a decent team, and even though they did lose their main striker and their manager, who has been doing very good with them for the last few seasons, I still think they will easily be able to win against Kairat 3-0. And that is the end of my Champions League predictions for the first match day in the league phase. If you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But obviously, if you disagree, remember to leave your predictions down below, and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. And obviously, if you did enjoy this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.